Good evening. It's lovely to see you. We're gathering this evening to celebrate the musical life of our parish, not in its totality, but some of the people that play the organ here or various instruments thought they would come and we would share in their making of music. I read Richard Rolle, the great mystic from the Middle Ages, and he was kind of like if you know what a hippie is, he was rather like that. And he couldn't bear music because he felt it interfered with his listening to the angelic choirs. I'm not at that level yet. But the thing is that the music that we make lifts our hearts and minds to God. And there's a sense that everything creates a musical note, you know, the idea of the music of the spheres, that everything moves and has a sound, a resonance. And we do this in our prayer, in our quietness, in our pleading, and in our longing, and in the gifts that we have and share, which are given to us by God. So I do welcome you on behalf of the musicians and singers, and on behalf of our community, and it's great to see you. God bless you.
Well, as many of you will know, my name is John Pontifex, and as well as being Master of Ceremonies, working under Father Will and Martine and the parish team, I will be your compere for this evening. So it's wonderful to be with you this evening for what promises to be a really spectacular and reflective and truly joyous occasion. We've never done this before, at least not to my knowledge. So it's good to try new things from time to time, and certainly by the turnout we've got this evening, it seems others take the same view. What we have in store for us tonight is really some very high quality music. The artists, the performers, the musicians have been very modest in describing to me their abilities, and we know their abilities well though, and we really do have some first-class music to look forward to listening to. But before we turn our attention to that, just a few housekeeping rules, if I may. The first thing is to remind you, if you haven't done so already, to either switch off your mobile phones or at least to put them on silent. It would be very sad to disrupt the musicians as they're concentrating and as others are listening. And also, I'm sure people will want to take photographs, but just please, if you could put your no flashlight photography, so we do not disrupt the performers as they set about their business. And the third thing is just to remind you, of course, that this is, in fact, a concert in aid of a particular charity, aid to the church in need, and that's partly where I come in, working for the charity in question, which is Aid to the Church in Need. And I'll be talking a little bit more about that ahead of the retiring collection that we will have at the close of tonight's proceedings. And also just to remind you that the day, or the evening rather, ends with some refreshments, which will be upstairs in the upper new hall up on my left. And the final thing to mention, of course, is those of you who, if any of you need to use the facilities, the toilets, they are open through turn left as you go out of the church, and then the lower new hall. So those are there for you at your convenience. So those are the practical aspects of this evening attended to. Let's dive into the music. So we start with two wonderful pieces by Johann Sebastian Bach. The first is his Prelude and Fugue in G, a gloriously bright and energetic work, as I heard myself when it was being rehearsed only a couple of days ago. And that will be performed for us tonight by Cambridge organ scholar Lorenzo Bennett. Thank you very much, Lorenzo. So we have the second of our Johann Sebastian Bach pieces to look forward to now. This one is his Sonata in E major. It was written in the 1740s to mark a visit to Potsdam to the court of Frederick the Great. And apparently the sonata only survives because it happened to be stored or retained in his library, the library of Frederick the Great, and it was chanced upon as someone was scouring through its shelves. So thanks to that person, we're able to enjoy it. So here to perform it alongside Lorenzo is Katerina May. So we look forward to this next piece, as well as Hannah Fury. Thank you to you all. So now we leap forward a mere 150 years to the romantic sound world of Sir Edward Elgar. Elgar might well have felt at home in this particular church because, of course, he was an organist of St. George's Catholic Church in Worcester. So that's always worth remembering. The Elgar pieces that we're going to hear this evening are his delightful Chanson de Matin and also his Chanson de Nuit, which will be performed tonight by Caterina and Lorenzo. what a wonderful, wonderful piece. Really beautiful. So it's back to the organ solo for our next piece. Many of our composers that we're drawing from for tonight's performance are in fact French composers. And we've got coming up César Frank's Prelude, Fugue and Variation, Fugue et Variation. What we're going to hear actually is just the first movements, the prelude. And I've been told to invite you to listen out to a special melody that will be played on a solo reed over a gently repeating flute stop accompaniment. So listen out for that as Lorenzo brings it to life. Well, thus far we've heard from our instrumentalists only. We're now ready to bring in our choir. And we're looking forward very much to hearing our St. Anselm's choristers singing Anton Bruckner's Locus Iste. I remember singing this many years ago at school, so it brings back many happy memories. Perhaps some of you have sung it yourselves. And of course, it is very famous and much loved. And it's perhaps fitting to be formed here, of all places, as the text is taken from the gradual text of the Mass for the anniversary of the dedication of any one particular church. So we look forward to that now. And Hannah Fury will be conducting. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you very much, St. Anselm's Choir. Well, a piece or two back, we had a piece from César Franck, and as you could imagine, César Franck had many fans. One of them was a young chap named Louis Verne, also a Frenchman, a French boy, in fact. Aged 11, he heard César Franck, and it was an experience that seems to have changed his life, and he decided that the organ was for him. Despite suffering from very poor eyesight and having operations to try and improve his sight, that did in no way deter him, and indeed his brilliance was spotted, and soon he began a meteoric rise to musical glory. His Carillon de Westminster centers on the melody of perhaps the most famous clock chime, certainly in this country, if not the world. And no prizes if you can guess which melody it is or which clock chime it is that I'm referring to. So here to perform this wonderful work by Louis Verne is St. Anselm's organist and my sister, Catherine Pontifex. Thank you, Catherine. Amazing. Thank you very much, Catherine. Well, the composers we've heard from thus far tonight have all been men. So I think you'll agree it's time for a female composer. And so to fit that bill, we have Nadia Boulanger and her cantique, which has been arranged for organ and cello. It is in fact a song, and the words of the song resonate with this particular month of November, the month, of course, of the Holy Souls. In fact, it was Katerina, who will be accompanying Catherine on the organ for this piece, who suggested that I read out to you the words of the song, very short, so you can get more of a sense of the themes that are being explored in the piece. So here are the words. To all weeping souls, to all fleeting sins, I open, cradled by stars, my hands full of grace. No sin can live when love has spoken. No soul can die when love has wept. And if love goes astray on terrestrial paths, its tears will find me and not go astray. So here to perform this particular arrangement of Nadia Boulanger's cantique is our organist Catherine Pontifex and cellist Katerina May. So now it's time to welcome back the choir of St. Anselm's Church. And we're going to hear the prayer of St. Anselm, how to seek you. And this is very special, not only because, of course, we're in St. Anselm's Church, but also because the composer of this particular piece is going to be leading it. So Hannah Fury composed it, and it's a beautiful work, and those of us who are regulars here at St. Anselm's will know it well, so it's wonderful to showcase it as part of our selection tonight. Hannah will lead this piece for us tonight. And so we come to another fine musician from St. Anselm's, Francesca Robinson, who is a regular organist here at St. Anselm's, so we're always glad to hear her. She will be playing Leon Boehmann's Suite Gothique. I hope I pronounced that correctly. It's his Prière à Notre Dame. Thank you, Francesca. So we are approaching the end of our program. In fact, we've only got one piece left, but before we hear it, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about the fundraising focus for tonight's concert, which is, of course, Christians who suffer persecution, discrimination, and oppression in Pakistan. This project that we are supporting here in the parish of St. Anselm's, which is a support for two projects in a town called Sargodha in the Punjab province. This particular town has suffered some very severe attacks on religious minorities, not least Christians, and it came at a time when a nearby town called Jaranwala came under attack from extremists who surrounded the Christian quarter of that particular district in Jaranwala and set fire to as many as 26 churches and chapels, which were set ablaze all in the space of just 12 hours. 80 homes belonging to Christians were targeted, and the families from those homes spent the night out in the sugarcane fields outside. And at the same time in Sargodha, they had their own threats of violence, and the community were hunkered down, and they were unable to work, they were unable to go to school. And the bishop, who I know quite well, Archbishop Joseph Arshad of Islamabad, Rawalpindi, asked us at Aid to the Church in Need to provide ongoing support for those families, for those parishes in Sargodha who were effectively in a kind of lockdown situation. And so thanks to Father Will, who very much wanted to support this project, our parish priest, Canon William Hebborn, we're able to support this project, helping these two parishes, St. Joseph's and St. Pius churches in Sargodha. And I've been to Pakistan, I've met families who've suffered persecution, I've met people living in hiding, I've met and dealt with young women and girls who've suffered the worst of persecution, details I'd rather not share with you. But any support that you can give tonight in support of Aid to the Church Needs Help for these two parishes in Sargodha would be much, much appreciated. We have got the gift aid envelopes, the Aid to the Church Needs gift aid envelopes dotted around in the pews. There will be a retiring collection, and I have got my card machine with me. So for those who have not brought any cash, you don't quite escape. So do come. And we've also got some Aid to the Church Need Christmas cards, rosaries and other items upstairs in the upper new hall, where of course we'll be having our refreshments shortly. But that's all to come. We're now very pleased to welcome our final piece, which we've all been looking forward to, which is Louis Vienne's inspiring Carillon de Longpont. Vienne drew inspiration for the piece from the bells of the church of the Château de Longpont, which is not far from Paris. It was composed in 1913, and I think that's rather special because, of course, that was the year before the outbreak of the First World War, and the sounds of gunfire and worse would soon befall that city, that region of France, in only a few months hence. But here to perform this wonderful piece is Yuji Huggett, who is very much our youngest performer at 13. So we're looking forward very much, Yuji, to hearing your wonderful piece. Thank you very much. Well, with that rousing finish, that brings us to the end of tonight's performance. We mustn't forget, of course, our refreshments, which are waiting to be served up in the new hall. There will be bread and cheese, glass of wine, and other fine beverages. Don't forget to make your donation for our great cause this evening, and indeed the Christmas cards and other items. But before we move on, we have some people to thank, as I'm sure you will agree. I'm going to run through these names fairly quickly because the idea is that we would give our applause, show our appreciation once all the people in question have come forward. So please wait, if you wouldn't mind, to the end before clapping. First of all, I'd like, on behalf of you all, if I may, to thank our host for this evening, who is, of course, our parish priest, Canon William Hebon. Thank you, Father, very much indeed for agreeing to this and for supporting it so much. We also need to thank our parish administrator, Martine Mercer, without whom clearly none of this would have been possible. So thank you, Martine. And also, there are many others to thank who've been supporting Martine in preparing the practicalities for tonight, not least Francis Cernuszki, who has been responsible for our programs, but there are others too that deserve thanks for their help with things. And so now turning to the musicians who've made this evening so special. In no particular order, Hannah Fury and the St. Anselm's Choir, so if you'd like perhaps to come forward, and then I'll start reading out the others as well. So those, Hannah Fury and St. Anselm's Choir. And then next is our cellist, Katerina May. So there's Katerina. Yuji Huggett, who's just coming through the doors, alongside Francesca Robinson, Catherine Pontifex, and last but by no means least, Lorenzo Bennett. So a huge congratulations for a wonderful evening to you all. A big round of applause, if you would be so kind. It's at this point that I reckon I've left somebody out. So if I have, apologies. But no, it's been very special. And I think a huge thank you to the parishioners of St. Anselm's, because it costs a lot. The upkeep of the organ is expensive. So the parishioners have made that possible. And so huge thank you to them, because without them, this particular concert would not have been possible. So thank you very much to everyone, and looking forward to seeing you upstairs for our refreshments, those of you who can stay for that. Thank you again.